What is up, YouTube? It is RYRY coming back with my second tutorial on YouTube, and I'm going to be breaking down EBK Jaaybo type beats. For this video, I'm going to be taking the melody that I made in the last video, and if you haven't seen that, go and check it out. I'll drop that link in the description, and I'm going to be showing you how I dropped the drums and how I structured the beat. So, without further ado, let's get right into that. Alright. Okay, so the first step in throwing down these type of drums, or any drums for that matter, is taking out a part of the sample that you think is more representative of the entire beat. So when you throw down the drums, you'll be able to just copy and paste them throughout the beat, more or less. And so for this, I chose this four bar loop, and it sounds like this. You can tell that shit speaks to your soul right there. Alright, so let's get into it. For the first part, we did the open hats, and this pattern may look a little bit confusing or difficult or complex, but no, it's not. It's really quite simple when you look at it in terms of 3 counts. And what I mean by that is this pattern right here is a 3 count. You see it's 1, and then you take a little block in between, 2, a little block in between, and 3. And if you look at it in terms of those, we have 1 3 count, another 3 count, but we took out the middle one. Same thing here, 3 count without the middle one, and then a 3 count at the end. And this 3 count pattern, if you don't know it, make sure you memorize it, because that is probably the most useful pattern in these West Coast offbeat type of beats, or just pretty much any beat in general. And then for the second half, I just copy and pasted the same pattern. And when you put the clap in, you really get that bounce going on the beat. And for the clap for these West Coast beats, you just want to make sure that it's on the 1 and the 3 of every bar. And so let me show you what this sounds like with just the open hat and the clap. You can tell that just kind of establishes that initial bounce. But anyway, up next we got the percs. This one is my most useful percs, and we got the 2 different styles of rims and a shaker and a cowbell. And for the percs, for the selection, you just kind of want to select more or less just whatever you hear sounding right with the beat. These are just the ones that I actually thought worked the best. And for the shaker, I basically just did that same pattern, which was 2 right before the clap on the first and the third bar, but it was the second clap of the first and third bar. And then for the rim shot, it was that same pattern, the 3 count. You can tell if I just go like this, boom, it's the same thing as with those open hats. But I took off that third one and just had 2, and then the same thing for the cowbell. And these patterns are also really common with the percs, because they just keep furthering that bounce. And with the percs, that's what you're going for. It's just basically trying to make the beat get as much of a bounce as possible, so the artist can come on it just in a bunch of different ways. You know what I mean? They have a bunch of creative freedom. And then for the random perc, I added this one, which is kind of common in Detroit beats. You probably heard it, and that just kind of furthered it a little more. And let me play what we got so far with these percs added onto it. Like, we're getting somewhere, we're getting there. You can see it's starting to come together a little bit more. And then for this vocal, I don't even see how this is a vocal, but it's apparently a crowd chant. But it sounds like this. I don't know where this perc came from. I don't know what genre it originated from, but it goes crazy. And I basically put it, this is what I've been doing recently. As you can see, the third open hat in this 3 count, it hits right on this little block right here. So I put the crowd chant right on the bar after it, or the little box after it. You can see it's right there. And that adds just a little bit more bounce. And you'll see right here, it just adds a lot to the beat. Alright, so up next, I did the lasers. which are necessary for these type of sack beats. These are necessary, I'm telling you. And for these ones, you either want to have 3 little consecutive lasers at the end of the bar, or 5 lasers at the end of the bar, or you can do what I did and have 3 on the first half and 5 on the second half. And you either want them on the second and fourth bar or the first and the third bar. And if you do this pattern, you generally follow it with a poudre roll afterwards. But I did not do that for this one. I did just on the second and fourth bar to help make it drop harder into the loop. So after that, I went and I added stomps, and I added 2 different types of stomps. This first stomp, I did a 3 count, and it sounds like this. Kind of a weird sounding stomp. The second stomp, also kind of a weird sounding stomp. And for this one, I just layered it on the last 2 claps of the fourth bar. It's what I've been doing. I haven't seen a lot of producers been doing this, but if you want to try it out and see if you like it or not, give it a shot. And with those, with all the lasers and the stomps, we now have this. Like, that shit is coming together. We are getting somewhere. Slowly but surely, we're getting there. Alright, so up next, I just added 1 wah. Nothing crazy. It's just tuned to the beat, and it just hits out the 1. You can barely even hear it. It's just kind of more in the background. And then for the hi-hats, it was also very simple. I basically just filled in wherever there was kind of blank space, or wherever I thought it could just kind of emphasize the bounce, just like filling out the beat pretty much. And so with the hi-hats, we now have this. Very minimalistic, but now we get to the fun part. These are the 808s, and I used the 808 Bang from Armani DePaul's kit. If you don't know him, go and check him out. He goes crazy, been doing numbers in these type of beats, so make sure that you go check him out on pretty much any platform. But for the 808s, I basically just tuned it to the root note of each chord, and it was just the chords are going bar by bar, so I just followed that pattern. And then I added a reverse triangle transition, and the 4-bar loop of percussion and drums is pretty much done. Let me play how it sounds with all of everything added. Oh god, that shit is crazy. That shit is so crazy. But okay, so basically, once you have that 4-bar loop, what I generally do is I will copy and paste that 4-bar loop. Let's see, I'll copy and paste it so that we have a 4 or 8-bar intro, and then it would just be copy and pasting it about, 1, 2, 3, 4 times, so that we have an 8-bar hook and a 12-bar verse. And then you basically keep all the drums for that 8-bar hook, and for the verse you kind of switch out the melodies. Every 4 bars you want to switch up something and make it a little bit different so that the listeners don't get too bored. And then once you have that 8-bar hook and that 12-bar verse, you also want to make sure that it flows pretty well from each 4-bar loop and then into the next 4-bar loop. And then you basically can just copy and paste it, and then for the last part I have the hook, and then I copy that over for another 8-bar hook, and I just fade it out once it gets to here. And then at the second half of this, I'll cut out the drums in the little beginning of that and bring them back in at the very end, and then it fades out to nothing, and that's the whole beat right there. And with all that being said, I've basically just shown you from just having the melody all the way through my process of doing the drums. So I'm going to play the beat back and show you the final result, and let me know down in those comments what you think of the final product. Alright, let's give it a listen.
killed this shit.
Alright, well that is basically the entire video. After that it just drops back into the hook and then repeats all the way through. But I hope you enjoyed this. There's not many videos on EBK Jaaybo type sample beats, especially on Logic Pro X on YouTube, so I'm hoping that I can help out whoever needs those. And with that being said, if you enjoyed this video, please drop a comment, make sure you drop a like and subscribe. And if you have any suggestions, also drop that comment. And I will be catching you in the next video. Until then, peace.